Hi, good morning. Hello. I just make this script just in case the internet connection from the school not as good as I expect from last week. So last week we talking about the assignment, right? That asking you to take a picture for images from different type of balance, and then this week we're going to put that 4 images into the layout, based on your story that we're asking about the question, like who, what, when, where, why, and how, something like that. So today I'd like to discuss a bit more when you put together your image into the form of layout. So give you a few idea about your layout here. Of course we're going to make 4 type of balance layout, right? But just give you a sense of layout design idea. So on this particular one, is not only give you a sense of design ideas, I'll also like to give you the sense of how we get that idea form and how we put together the ideas. So basically on the research world, you have different type of research, such as quantitative research or qualitative research, and sometimes you have to mix qualitative and quantitative together. So when we're talking about qualitative, you're talking about analyzing, you're talking about a lot of review, literature review, and after you read, you process that, and you distill it, or you analyze what good, what bad. And when you're talking about quantitative, you're talking the amount of information that you want to process, like like a poll, how many people like this, what percentage people like that kind of design, or how many percentage of people dislike this kind of design, something like that. And then we compare statistically. So you can also combine these 2 methods together. So in this case here, I'm not only suggest you what principle of design is, I also show you how we come up with that kind of principle, and then you can also make your own, something like that. Okay, let's get started. The first idea that I like to show you is about Gestalt Principle. This is one of the most popular sense or most popular designs perception that people using it for different type of designs. So Gestalt is a group of German psychologists in 1920. So it's about before Bauhaus. So they're interested in learn how human perceive the visual perception, visual elements. So the first one that I like to talk about is similarity. So when object is look similar to one another, the viewer often see the individual object element as part of pattern or group. Okay, so that is so obvious. When you look at this shape, like the one from the left here, so you definitely define it by shape. So you can see a group of circle and a group of triangle. And then on the second one, right, even though the shape are the same, but it's also you can differentiate by color. And then on the third one, you can see a different row instantly with different shade of color. So when you look at this, is become a part of each other if there's something similar. So that is like instantly when you perceive or when you look at it. The second rule from Gestalt is continuation. So when you look at the flow of the eyes, this draw along the path, line, curve, is performed to see as a single continuous figure than separate line. For example, when you look at this, normally, right, you look at this straight line, even though it's have, in fact, it could have like 4 groups, one group here, one group there, one group there, and another group there. But your eyes is probably will go up, continues. And on this flow here is going to go across from left to right, and from this bottom down here or bottom up there, something like that. And for example, on this case here is quite obvious, even though there are 2 groups here, the black and the pink, but you still can see the line is straightforward. So that is another common sense when we perceive the continuation on the eye flow. And then the next rule is closure. So the human eye intend to see as a closed object. The closure work where the object is incomplete, and upon our experience, our brain try to complete the shape. For example, on this case here, we could see, this shape here, even though it's not like a circle, but we could perceive like, this shape could be a circle, or this shape could be a rectangle, this shape could be a triangle, something like that. So we use it as a designer, we use it to create, multiple meshes in in the shape or form, or we can also use that in logo design. And the next one is proximity, or you can see you can say as a white space surrounding it, or a grouping. So the proximity is talking about the arrangement of the element to create a group associated between those objects. If individual elements are also similar, they also tend to be perceived as a single or the whole objects when thought they are separate elements. So you can see the spacing, if it equally or distribute around the shape here, you can see as a one group. But when the space or the the proximity difference, so you can perceive as a different group. So in this case here, you perceive as single group, but in here you're going to see separate into 3 groups, something like that. And then the this one is called figure and ground. So we also use it a lot, in order to create design elements like a logo or something. So this principle describes the eye tendency to see and separate object from the surrounding background. It works because human eye want to see a figure, or the figure and the background as 2 different planes or different layers. For example, here you see the shape of this black object is like 2 faces face to each other. But if you look at the white space here, it's going to look like a jar or something. Yes. So the same thing when you look at this shape here, right? The black shape you could see as a tree and a bird. But when you look at the white space, you're going to see the lion and the chimpanzee, the monkey face to each other, something like that. So this is kind of useful when a lot of designers play with this kind of method. And then the symmetry and order. So this is something like that what we discussed last week. right? You're talking about the composition, and then you can make it in balance or it balanced, and then you can see the level of hierarchical order. Okay, that is the first one that we finished from Gestalt, and we have another principle. This one is called from Robin Williams. She is the author of the book Non-Designer Design book. So it's one of the most popular design book for non-designer. You can see she have very similar to Gestalt, slightly different. Talking about proximity, alignments, repetition, and contrast, right? So I correct them and compare them together, and maybe 2 sorts is not enough, so we come up with 3. Like this one from McRae is from 7 Principles of Design. So you can see there's some similarity and some difference from the 2 previous. And we could pick more. The more you pick, the more data you correct, right, is the more accurate you can get. So this one is from Gestalt Design. They have a 6 principle of Gestalt Designs. And then now, how we going to make our own rules, right? So we group them together, compare, analyze, and simplify it. So right now I put all together like Gestalt, Robin Williams, Mac, and J6. So you can see the list of principle of design from each sources, and then now you kind of summarize that. So I use the color code to grouping that together, like repetition and similarity. That could be one group. Figure, ground, emphasize, and contrast, that could be a second group. And alignment, continuation, and closure could be another group. Balance, movement, symmetry, and order, that will be another group. And proximity and white space can be another group as well. So now I put that color, that's from each source. That's why, so you can see continuation, closure, symmetry, right? So continuation, closure, alignments. So that one group. So now we seem like we have about 5 group. Okay, so now we make that, simplify that, right? And we look at the function of it. The figure, ground, emphasize, contrast. This function is draw attention. Repetition and similarity, that we use it a lot on the software interface. So this one we make it easy to learn how to use, or people get used to it quickly. And then proximity and white space, of course, this for grouping of the information and create a hierarchical order. And then balance, movements, symmetry, alignment, continuation, and closure. So this is kind of organizing, help to enhance readabilities, eye flow, and to simplify the information. So the conclusion is, my principle of design should be contrast to draw attention, repetition is easy to use or easy to learn about the content, and proximity is like for grouping the information and make everything in order. And then the last one, alignment, to enhance eye flow, readability, and simplicity, something like that. So now instead of many rules, so you can remember only 4 rules of design, and then you can follow this function. That's hopefully will be useful to you guys on the next exercise, that you will need to put together your information about text that you create from your picture, and that put together, in the form of layout design for the assignment. Thank you very much.